Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WrestleMania 32 preview and predictions. John and I haven't been overly excited for this show, but nothing gets us more excited than having these preview and predictions discussions and getting just all the possibilities out there on the table. John, what do you think, brother?
Well, Ashton, WrestleMania 32 is going to be interesting to say the least. Not the best built card, and even on paper, a lot of the matches kind of leave me underwhelmed. But, there have been WrestleManias in years past that I think have gone in with similar conditions, and they've pulled one out of a hat. Not to say that they've been the most stellar WrestleManias of all time, but they've been fun shows. That's what I'm kind of hoping for here. If I was to really grade my anticipation honestly on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd honestly say I'm hovering at about a 3 at most, especially considering that NXT TakeOver Dallas is tomorrow night, and I'm going to hope that that high kind of carries me through the weekend. And honestly, also the fact that the post WrestleMania Raw will be something that we can at least anticipate. But yeah, this WrestleMania by itself, if it was in a vacuum, a phrase that we've been using a lot these last few weeks, I can't really say that the anticipation is there, but like you said, nothing really jazzes us up more than preview and predictions. So, what are your thoughts before we really deconstruct this card?
My thoughts are this WrestleMania could go down as one of the worst or one of the most underrated WrestleManias of all time because there are going to be a lot of decisions that the WWE has to make, and a lot of those decisions are going to determine how good or, on the other side, horrible this show ends up being.
I would agree with both of those assessments. It's either going to be an underrated show or it's going to be just a god awful show, and we're just going to hope that the post WrestleMania Raw can live up to the hype that really we've imposed upon it because of post WrestleMania Raws in years past.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I mean, there's really nothing more I've got to say. If you want to delve right into this card, I am more than ready. Let's pick the show apart.
All right, let's get into the pre-show. This is going to be a multiple hour pre-show. I know that at least part of it is going to be airing on the USA Network. And we have three matches on the pre-show now. Apparently, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal got kicked up to the main show, so that's interesting. But we have three matches on the pre-show. I'm assuming the main event of the pre-show is going to be the U.S. title match, Kalisto versus Ryback, and the other two matches are the 10-woman tag match and the Usos versus the Dudleys. So, honestly, John, I think the least interesting match between those two is the Usos versus the Dudleys.
I would have to agree. I don't care at all for this feud. I think heel Dudleys are being wasted. I like the concept of the heel turn. These guys are 9-time tag team champions. They came back to secure their 10th. They were unsuccessful in that endeavor. And then they perceived that the audience and really just everybody was treating them as a nostalgia act. So they needed a little bit of oomph, to really get them back in that higher prospect, in that higher contention. And so they turned heel. Again, I don't really see how the Usos benefit. I still feel like, if a team like Enzo and Cass was to be called up, they'd be a great feud for the team like the Dudleys. But I'm going to be honest, Ashton, and this is something I've been feeling for a while. Since New Day are baby faces, I would not be surprised if the Dudleys get back in the title picture soon and they are the ones to beat the New Day, which quite honestly, I wouldn't mind if I knew a babyface NXT team, again, Enzo and Cass immediately comes to mind, would be the ones to end the Dudleys' reign. But considering that I believe the Dudleys are going to get back in the picture soon, I'm actually going to pick them to beat the Usos here. As shocking as that might be to some people, since I know we've kind of classified the Usos as being OP. So yeah, I'm actually picking a Dudleys victory here.
Wow. I think I'm going to just kind of turn my brain off for this and go with what I see as the sort of easy pick, Usos winning.
All right, and that's certainly fair. I can totally understand why you'd go that route.
Okay. I mean, if that's it, I guess we can kind of move on. There's not really a lot of explanation needed for this. It's a very sort of meaningless match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at you have to figure, even in a kayfabe sense, whichever team wins, they'd be a little bit higher up on the ladder. But then again, knowing WWE, they'd give the Usos a number one contendership match the next night, even if they lose, and then they'd go on to win that. But I'm just thinking, yeah, they're going to build the Dudleys up. And now that the New Day are faces, it all seems to coincide a little too well. So I think they're going to want to give the Dudleys a little bit of steam. And really, that's why I'm picking them for the victory. Any other day, I'd pick the Usos. But I don't know. It just seems to all match up too well. So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was easy. Up next, let's talk about the Total Divas. Brie Bella, Paige, Natalia, Alicia Fox, and Eva Marie versus Team Bad and Blonde. Lana, Summer Rae, Naomi, Emma, and Tamina.
Oh God, the match where we just throw all the women together because I mean, one match with an actual story with women in it is good enough for the WWE. I mean, why put effort into the rest of the roster, right?
I mean, of
Uh,
course, they have the one match. We can't expect more, right?
exactly, because being progressive, what's that? Yeah, I
Sorry,
really,
say that again?
yeah, being progressive, or as we
What's
like
that
to call it,
word?
being Lucha Underground is another way we could
That's
say
not
it.
really where I was going with it, but the idea is the WWE doesn't even understand the meaning of the word progressive.
Exactly. Yeah, they're really archaic in a lot of their viewpoints. But regardless, I don't really care for this match. You can even hear it in my voice. I have no passion. I can't even fake energy for this match. To me, I've been hearing that Brie Bella is going to be on the way out soon because of Brian's medical issues and him taking a step back. She wants to be home. I think she's got that baby fever like crazy. I'm not even trying to be cheeky. I do think she wants to start a family, and that is her right.
Yep.
So I don't see her. Here's the thing, though. Normally, I would have said I don't see her winning. If this was her versus Lana one on one, I'd pick Lana for the win. But because there are 9 other women involved here, I'm actually going to say that Bree's team wins. But I'm going to stick with what I said ever since we got that bombshell, and not in a good way, on Raw. Some babyface member, probably Paige, just as an example, is going to do the work, maybe hit the Rampage or something. Eva's going to steal the tag, and she's going to get the winning pin. And then maybe the WrestleMania moment for the babyface divas is they all turn on Eva afterwards and they just beat the crap out of her, much to the crowd's delight, because they all hate her. And they know that could be a huge pop for all the babyface divas. But yeah, Team Total Divas, I think, is going to get the win with Eva Marie stealing the winning pinfall. So that's my pick.
Yeah. I think one of two things is going to happen here, but either way, I am going to end up picking Team Total Divas. I think either what you said, where Eva Marie steals the pin and we get kind of like a 4-on-1 or maybe even a 9-on-1, which would be hilarious, beat down on Eva happens, or we could kind of get like that swerve moment that you brought up on Raw where they say, Eva, even though you came out and saved us, we never agreed that you would be our fifth team member. Here's our actual 15 member, and then cue somebody else. I mean, it might not even necessarily be another member of Total Divas. I've suggested Bailey. If they don't want to go there, I honestly legitimately think that Mandy Sachs, would be a better option here than Eva Marie.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, what a rub for that young woman, coming from Tough Enough and already getting to be a part of her first WrestleMania, pre-show or not.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it
That's
really doesn't even come down to I think she's better than Eva Marie, because I highly, highly doubt that she's better than Eva, given that she's been here for like a third of the time Eva has. But if you look at the reputation, everybody hates Eva. Mandy is more of like a neutral, if she does something good, people might cheer her kind of position.
right, right. I will say this though, us talking about the whole Eva factor does in an indirect way kind of heighten my interest as if it couldn't get any higher in Asuka Bailey, because if Bailey drops the championship, I'm just going
Yeah.
to be getting down on my knees and praying like, please do a bait and switch, please do a bait and switch, because honestly, here's the thing. Again, if the rumors are true that Brie is retiring soon, I've also been hearing that they may want to give Brie like a babyface moment where she quote unquote passes the torch, even though she's not a champion or anything. So I don't know what torch she could pass, but
Right.
maybe just give that nod of respect to Bailey, which I think I'm not going to say that it would be cool because I can't stand Brie Bella, so I feel like that'd be hypocritical. But it would
Yep.
be something for Bailey to work off of. Plus, I would hope that because it's a mixed crowd that's really global, like we were talking about in our NXT Takeover Dallas preview predictions, that Bailey would get a raucous pop if she came out. This could really be NXT's night. I mean, given some of the performers on the WrestleMania card. So I'm not going to hold out hope for that, though. I'm just going to go with Eva staying in the match and being a part of it. So yeah, she steals the pin, and we all groan while it happens.
Yeah. Like I said, though, either way, I am picking Team Total Divas to win, because if they do end up introducing Mandy, I think that momentum is going to carry them to a win.
I completely agree with you.
All right, let's move on. The de facto main event of the pre-show: Ryback versus Kalisto. This is actually a tougher one for me to pick. I love Kalisto, and I loved the match that they had on SmackDown a few months ago, building up to Survivor Series. But I don't know if the WWE wants to pull the trigger and give the title to Ryback, or if they want to kind of keep it on Kalisto and build up that prestige.
Yeah, it really is an interesting case, isn't it?
It
because
kind
this
of
is
feels like they're more invested in Kalisto, one half of the Lucha Dragons, than they are in Kalisto United States Champion.
and I can totally understand where you're coming from, getting that vibe, given how Kalisto's been booked, especially in recent memory.
Yeah.
However, I'm still conflicted because, see, I'll be honest, Ashton, and this is just me leveling with everybody. When Ryback first had that heel turn and slight repackaging with the ring gear and everything else, the first thing I thought was, okay, they're going to build Ryback up again and kind of do with him what they did with him when he was feuding with John Cena. You know, he's going to be one of those guys to feud with Reigns, you know, when he wins the championship, which that's not spoiling a future prediction because I actually have quite a bit to say about the main event, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's what I initially conceived of Ryback. Now I'm not so sure because maybe WWE just did it because they just wanted to test it out, but they still see Ryback as kind of that mid-Carter for life kind of guy. I think Ryback could do well with this gimmick with the United States title. I think it could be a lot of fun. However, I still think the sky's the limit for Kalisto, and I haven't given up on him, and I don't think WWE has either. I'm going to pick Kalisto to retain, and just a word to the wise to our audience here. Don't sleep on this match. If you guys remember the SmackDown match they had, this
It was
match could be
awesome.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, this match is going to suck or it's going to be crap, primarily because of Ryback, and Ryback gets shit on a lot by the internet, I notice. But I wouldn't be so caustic to this match yet. Let them earn your viewership, and I think they will. I think these two guys will do something really great together. And yeah, Kalisto will retain, and then whoever his next challenger is, I mean, that's anybody's guess.
Yeah. I mean, if you really look at it, they might even decide to go with a babyface Big E challenging Ryback.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, yeah, the New Day's in an interesting place themselves. Again, we'll kind of get into that a little later, but there are possibilities there if they put the strap on Ryback. I
Yep.
just don't think Kalisto's time is done yet, especially because he fought so hard in that program with Del Rio just to not only win it back, but to be able to hang on to it. I can't see that on a show like WrestleMania, especially the pre-show, because if this is the main event of the pre-show, which I agree with you, why wouldn't it be? They probably want to leave you on that good note transitioning into the main show, you know, kind of pump you up a little bit. So, yeah, I definitely think Kalisto's going to retain here.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick the change, man. I'm picking Ryback to win. I'm just going out on a limb. Like I said, I feel like the WWE is more invested in Kalisto, one half of the Lucha Dragons, than the WWE is invested in Kalisto, United States Champion. I think that they see more value in Lucha Dragons as a team than they see in Kalisto as an individual, at least for now. I don't know if they necessarily know what they have. I think that the main reason they wanted Kalisto to feud with Del Rio is because of the lucha aspect, because it's, they have those two guys that both have the Mexican background, and they know that those guys can put on great matches with each other. But it's almost like they ran out of ideas for Kalisto as soon as the Del Rio feud was over, because they just kept on trying to feed Del Rio to him.
And here's another question we have to ask ourselves, just to kind of broaden the scope of the discussion a little bit. And this kind of ties both Ryback and Kalisto together. Let's keep in mind, this is not a disservice to Kalisto, because again, you and I, when we talked about Kalisto on NXT, when the Lucha Dragons were a thing and they were on the rise, we saw big things in Kalisto even then. So this isn't trying to do a disservice to him, but I feel like the catapult for all of his success was John Cena being taken out of the game with his injury. If John Cena's due back soon, are they going to insert him into the U.S. Championship picture? And if so, WWE already has as a proven concept a heel Ryback and John Cena feud. I don't know if they'd
Oh
want to go that route
God,
again.
please no.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd want to go that route again, or John Cena being like, look, Kalisto, you've done amazing in my absence. You're an incredible United States champion, but now it's time to really test your mettle, and we do a face versus face matchup for the U.S. title, Kalisto versus John Cena, which, to me, given the quality of work that John Cena was doing before his injury, could be an insane matchup, actually, and I'm not even kidding. But factoring that in, I'm still going to tentatively say Kalisto, but I will say my confidence has dropped thinking about the reemergence of John Cena, because they very well might give it to Ryback, and then John Cena may have to feel like he has to come in and fix the situation, like he felt the need to when Del Rio won the title. Granted, Del Rio beat John Cena for it, but you get my drift regardless. So I'm still picking Kalisto, but it's a bit more tentative. I don't know where John Cena fixes in this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sticking to my pick. I do think Ryback's winning, but you make a lot of points. I think, honestly, I almost feel like John Cena's return might not even necessarily be the same John Cena we're hoping returns. I don't think that they're going to bring him back and immediately send him after the U.S. title.
So you think they're going to send John Cena back, and maybe because he missed WrestleMania, and there could be a change in ownership potentially, which again, like many other matches
Yep.
we'll get to,
Yep.
they might put him in a big program right away,
I
which
think they
makes
might, yeah.
sense.
Well, and if not right away, I think that, or if not a big program right away, I think that he's sort of on an inevitable collision course with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 33.
I'm so glad you said it because I was even going to say if you didn't, I mean, spoiler alert, people, I think that the remainder of 2016 going into early 2017, it's the road to John Cena's WrestleMania. Because I guarantee you there are going to be two things they make a big stink out of. The fact that he had to sit out of this year's WrestleMania and the fact that he is one world title away from tying Ric Flair's record at 16
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
titles.
Yeah,
You put those
definitely.
two things together, and honestly, and I'm not even the biggest John Cena fan, you guys know that, but I think they'd be crazy not to tell that story. So I've already accepted the fact, really, really, like way in advance, that WrestleMania 33, John Cena's already one half of the main event. And I want to assume that Reigns is the other half, but honestly, Ashton, if this injury crisis has taught us anything, it's that just unpredictability can still rear its head in the WWE. So, but I am confident Cena can stay healthy for that time to be in the main event of WrestleMania 33. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You're on point, man. It's going to be the John Cena and Roman Reigns show for the next 365 days.
Yeah, oh
Or
my God.
I'm sorry, 366. Or no, we already had leap day. 365. We're back to normal.
Yeah, there you go. But guys, I'm just telling you, I'm not even trying to be a dick. Just settle in because,
Yeah.
yeah, settle in. It's
Yeah.
going to be
I
a
mean,
while.
I think, and the crazy thing too is, we'll talk about this more later, but I don't even know which one of those guys is going to be face or which one's going to be heel, or if they're just going to try and pull off the face versus face feud and let the crowd pick who they want.
Oh God. And like I said, I have said, and I know even some of our commenters when I initially said it kind of latched onto my statement and agreed with me. I'm very intrigued at the reception John Cena would get when he's standing opposite Reigns. Because oh my God, the boos. All right, well, that's all I can say about Kalisto Ryback. You want to move on?
Yeah, man, let's move on to the main card. We've got, I believe, 8 matches announced right now for the main card. And you know what? Considering it was originally going to be on the pre-show, let's just get the least relevant match out of these 8 out of the way first. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm picking Braun Strowman. I'm curious to know who you're picking.
You know what? I'm not even going to be the typical John. Screw that. I'm not in the mood for false hope and all this wild speculation. I will say this, and I'm not making this as a pick. I just want to make a general statement. I even shared this on Twitter. Curtis Axel cut a promo I thought was great. I actually thought he should have won the armbar last year, and that's not even because he was my pick. I just loved what he was doing with Axelmania and the
Right.
idea he wasn't eliminated from the Royal Rumble. I thought they had something, and I still feel like if he won, I pop. But I realize the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal doesn't go to guys like him. They either go to people that are really big, hence the big show last year, or people that in WWE's warped view they want to push but don't know how to do it successfully, i.e. Cesaro. So I'm going to pick Braun Strowman as well. I don't know if you've heard Ashton, but I read on No DQ recently, and again, as always, take it with a grain of salt, but they might be nixing Braun Strowman's push and that his program with Lesnar might not even happen. That notwithstanding, I think they'd be crazy not to have Braun Strowman win this match. So he is absolutely unequivocally my pick, and here's to hoping he dominates.
You know what, dude? Since it is a big battle royal, we usually pick our final 4 for the Royal Rumble. Let's pick 3 names that we could see winning this.
You know what? Because I feel like Bray Wyatt is healthy. I know he had that like back injury scare, but I think he's already back to work. I'm gonna say I know Luke Harper's out, but I'm gonna say Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt. I'm gonna say the Big Show. I hate to say it, but I think they're gonna try and make it seem like he's gonna have a repeat and try and make a big deal out of that. So yeah, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Big Show. There you go. And then Braun Strowman eliminates Big Show last.
Yeah, that's a good one. You know, I'm gonna my first pick, as you all know, is Braun Strowman. My second pick is, you know what? I think they might bring someone in for this for NXT, because last year we had this big NXT battle or tournament that Hideo ended up winning and to get into this match on last year's WrestleMania. So I think they might do something like that again this year.
And I mean, you don't have any speculation of who that NXT performer might be, or
Man, it's really difficult because I don't want to pick Finn based on the fact that he's the champion and they didn't give it to the champion last year. I think it was Neville last year. Neville didn't even make it to the finals last year.
Right.
I don't want to pick Finn. I don't want to pick Joe because I think there's a chance he will be the champion by the time they do the tournament on Saturday. And oh man, you know what? I'm gonna just throw it all on there. I'm picking Apollo Crews.
I was thinking Apollo Crews. He was going to be my pick, so we had a
Yeah.
mental uplink there.
I
Yeah, I
don't
think
think
he's the
you
perfect
know. The
fit.
more I think about it, I don't think that they'll have. Although you know what though, that would be a great moment for him.
Now, who are you thinking of?
Cruz.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. I think he's the perfect fit for a match like this.
Yeah.
Because I think he could show
Okay.
off a
All
little
right.
bit and then
My
get the
my
finish.
three picks: Braun Strowman, Apollo Crews, and fingers crossed Cesaro.
An early return. Oh, that'd be so good because I've been hearing like himself say like he's not going to make WrestleMania, which is just leaves me heartbroken like everything else lately WWE related. But yeah, I love your final three a hell of a lot more than mine. I'm just trying to be grounded in mine. I don't want to, get all wild with conjecture and stuff, but I love
Well,
yours. I hope that happens.
I'm really concerned about the Battle Royal participants because we already know who's going to be in it for the most part. We know it's going to be Slater, Axel, Rose, Dallas, Big Show, Kane, Breeze, Mark Henry, Swagger, Fandango, Sandow, Darren Young, The Ascension, and Golden Truth. And that's 16 right there
Right.
out of 20.
So that leaves 4 open spots
Now, I know in
left.
previous years there have been like 21, 22. I think one of the years it was like 24 even. I don't know. So they're going to
Right.
go a little bit over 20 just for like the surprises. But man, I don't know. I am concerned that the Wyatt family might not even be in it. I think they should be. I think it would make sense if they were, but I'm concerned they won't be.
We'll see, man. But I'm just gonna go off the fact that they are gonna be in it. I'm hoping they're in it because
Well,
for them just
that's
to
why
be.
I'm picking Strowman. Yeah.
However, no, you know what? No, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it. When you want to move on, like I'm ready because yeah, I'm still picking Braun Strowman. So
Okay, up next, let's talk about the New Day versus the League of Nations. And the only reason I'm willing to talk about this so early is because it is a non-title match. It's just a 3-on-4 handicap match, and with the amount of beating down that the League of Nations have been taking. I mean, they did one beatdown on the New Day, and the New Day has gotten the upper hand on every occasion since then. So I really do have to think that the League of Nations is going to win. But I've also heard rumblings from Meltzer that the WWE wants to use this match to really catapult the New Day into the stratosphere as babyfaces, as like a top babyface act in WWE.
interesting. About time they really got behind these guys.
Yeah. Well, you
Um,
say that, but they've been getting like 30 minutes between promos and matches and segments and stuff for each of the last like 3 months worth of
that
Raw.
is true. That is true. I just, I'm always tentative about whether WWE really sees value in guys or not. That said, Ashton, to me, this is a clear-cut match for me. I think New Day wins because to me, the story's been, yeah, League of Nations keeps beating them down, but New Day consistently wins the matches in ring. The only time I can remember League of Nations actually winning a match was, again, I think the SmackDown before this most recent one where Sheamus beat Kofi Kingston. I think that was a bit dirty, actually. So New Day has League of Nations number, and that's why they do the beatdowns to begin with, because they just can't seem to beat the New Day. I don't see it being any different here. Plus, I haven't forgotten, unfortunately, that Barrett's set to leave us this summer, so I don't think they want to give a leaving act a win at WrestleMania. So yeah, absolutely give the New Day to win. And if I'm being honest, this is probably one of the easiest matches for me personally to predict. So go New Day.
John, this has nothing to do with the match we're talking about, but it might have to do with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or it might have to do with NXT TakeOver Dallas.
Okay.
Kota Ibushi just landed in Dallas, Texas.
That's amazing. Freaking love Kota Ibushi.
Wow.
I know some of the participants that are going to be in that global cruiserweight series. Was he confirmed as one of the participants?
No,
I know that like
no, he wasn't. That's the weird thing.
Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. I'll keep my finger on that pulse. I freaking love Kota. I think he's
I know.
amazing.
Yeah, he was
So
your pick to win G1 last year.
Yeah, I really thought his stock was rising. At least he got one win over AJ, that was a freaking amazing match.
Yes, it
Um,
was. Okay, all right. I need to clear my head. But honestly, yeah, I'm picking the New Day. I think that somebody is going to get involved in this match. A big deal. I have the weird feeling that it's going to end up being Shawn Michaels, which makes no sense, but they're in Dallas, so maybe it'll be a bigger deal than I think it'll be.
Maybe, or I mean, because we know The Rock's gonna have a role, which I think we're gonna have to talk about The Rock
See,
at
that
some
would
point in
be
this card.
perfect. I think The Rock would be perfect in this role because, like, there were all those rumors when they were first getting together that, like, oh, it's going to be Nation 2.0, and they kind of grew out of that sort of racist pigeonholing scenario to become an amazing, entertaining group, and that's almost the exact same thing that The Rock's career looks like.
Exactly. Really,
So I could,
yeah.
yeah, I could definitely see it being The Rock too.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know where The Rock fits. I'm sure this won't be the last time that his name comes up because we could see him fitting in one area. Uh, or maybe it will be. But yeah,
No,
we'll see.
I'm laughing because of the other potential scenario he might show up
Right, right.
in. Please cheer him, people.
I know. God. All right. So what's next?
I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about next? We have, you know what? I'll make the decision for us. AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho, number 4. Is there any way Jericho wins this?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Honestly, here's the thing. I see AJ winning, and then did you hear the rumors about Jericho's next feud?
No.
He may be feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura, actually.
Oh yeah, you know what? I did hear about that because isn't there a show in Japan this coming summer that they're having a match at?
I believe so, yes. And he already started calling out
Yeah.
Shinsuke on Twitter.
Yep.
However, because I don't see Shinsuke being on NXT for long, and I know Jericho actually won't be returning with Fozzy for a while because I don't have any tour dates in the foreseeable future. I'd love to see that feud translate on main TV. Me personally, look, I know Jericho's not everybody's favorite act, but I already love him just exponentially more as a heel than I did when he was a babyface. I think you get heel Jericho with Shinsuke as his first like main roster feud. I think that's the perfect warm up for Shinsuke Nakamura. So I say AJ wins here and Jericho moves on to the next one, whoever that might be. And I'm actually genuinely curious about it because heel Jericho, I think, opens up some cool possibilities. I actually kind of wish Neville would be his big feud, but Neville is currently injured, so that's off the table. But yeah, no question in my mind, AJ's winning this one.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so now we're really getting down to the nitty gritty here. The matches that we have left are Intercontinental title, Women's title, World title, Ambrose Lesnar, and McMahon Taker.
Okay, let's talk Intercontinental title next because that's the hodgepodge. That's the ladder
Yeah,
match. So
I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, that's probably going to actually open the show, if not the Andre Battle Royal.
right.
Um, is it? Am I going out too far on a limb to say that Zack Ryder might actually win this?
Yeah, I think you are. No, I mean you asked, and that's just me being honest. I think they're building him up because he's so last minute that they want to make him seem credible. This was
Yeah,
supposed to be Neville's spot. No
yeah.
way in hell Zack Ryder's winning this.
Sammy's winning though, isn't he?
And that's the thing, Ashton. If we were doing this before the Raw that we witnessed, I would have been like, oh, hell yes, this is Sammy's match to win. But he pinned the champion. And I don't know if they want to build on all that momentum. But you know what? When has WWE ever adhered to any of the logic that we adhere to? So, you know what? I'm still going to stick to it. Not because I think it's amazing fantasy booking, although I do believe it is, but also because I just believe that's a logical course. Sami Zayn is going to win the Intercontinental Championship. But these guys are going to be the feud of the summer. And I am still, and nobody's going to tell me otherwise, Kevin Owens to me is Mr. Money in the Bank 2016. And I think to really increase those odds, he's got to drop the IC belt. I don't know if you're sighing because you think I'm ridiculous or because you want it as
No,
bad as
no, no,
I
no,
do.
no, 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 no. I'm sighing because I'm just imagining Roman turning heel and then eventually maybe at SummerSlam dropping the title to Seth and then Kevin Owens cashing in and we get Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens for 6 months.
Oh my God. No, I got to wait till the recording's over to change my pants.
The
But
promos,
regardless,
though, the
I,
promos and the
I
matches.
know. But guys, I mean, yeah, if you guys have been listening to Twitter these last few months, you guys know that's where my horse is backed.
Yeah.
I think Sami Zayn wins the Intercontinental Championship. It is the feud of the summer.
So do
You
you
have
think that's happening on this show or at Extreme Rules?
I think it's happening on this show. Kevin Owens loses the rematch. They both qualify for Money in the Bank, and you're going to have a spot in the match where Sammy's fingers are touching the briefcase, and Kevin Owens, either with a steel chair or brute force or whatever, he ruins Sammy's dreams, and he takes it from him. These guys, this is going to be a feud where each guy takes from the other. Sammy is going to take the title from Owens. You know Owens is obsessed with that title. However, much like Dean Ambrose, at least, for the moment, because he did win in that multi-man match, win it back, but I don't think he's going to take it back from Sammy. What he's going to win instead, though, is a much bigger prize. They're still going to continue the feud, and it's going to be one of the marquee matches at SummerSlam. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn versus Mr. Money in the Bank Kevin Owens. I don't know if anything will be at stake.
Apparently I'm wrong. Apparently, Extreme Rules is not the post WrestleMania pay-per-view. It's Payback and then Extreme Rules.
Interesting.
Then Money in the Bank.
Okay. Well, regardless, I do see Sammy retaining in the return match when it's one-on-one.
Dude, I'm telling you, Payback is going to be a garbage show.
I have a feeling. And you know what? I mean, this feud might go, at least as far as the Intercontinental title is concerned. Let me qualify that. As far as the Intercontinental title being the centerpiece, I think Extreme Rules will be the blow-off. Because I could see Payback, maybe Sammy retains, but Kevin Owens does some scummy shit, like maybe, and I'm not trying to be cheeky, an apron powerbomb. And then they do some kind of extreme stipulation because Kevin Owens now has crossed that personal line. Sammy's sick of shit. Last Man Standing would be fucking perfect. Oh my God, those two would kill it. Yep. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to come on here, Kevin Owens, he's a father. No, I'm saving that for what I think is going to be Kevin Owens' crowning achievement. I am all in on him being Mr. Money in the Bank this year. So
that's the thing, too. Like, who else? Like, dude, what if they give it to Cena again?
No, see, that's not going to happen because they know if they do, I will kill people by the droves. So Sammy is going to actually do his job for once and be my guinea pig.
We've already agreed that Cena's taken the title at Mania 33, but what if he does it with... Oh, no, that means he'll win Royal Rumble this coming year, right?
Yeah, probably. See, I don't mind him winning Royal Rumble because nobody gives a shit about Royal Rumble anymore after Roman won. Yeah, well, actually, no. Roman didn't win two of them, did he? No, he didn't because, Triple H won this year.
He should have won one, and then he won one that he shouldn't have won, and then he lost one that he was supposed to lose.
Exactly.
I mean, one out of three ain't too bad, right?
Exactly. And
WWE logic.
And yeah, I'm just thinking about Sami Zayn as a babyface. I think an Intercontinental title run is the perfect way to really kind of start him off. Yes. And him being that sympathetic Money in the Bank contender, I think is perfect. And then you have a scumbag like because to me, dude, I'm going to be honest. When I think about these two, I think so much about, and of course I'd go here because it's me, but I think about Edge and Chris Benoit's rivalry when Edge won Money in the Bank because he stole it from Benoit. He had his fingers on it, and then Edge just cracked him with a steel chair over and over again, and then he took it from him. That's the vibe I get from this. Sammy's going to be that scrapper, and he's going to have it, and Michael Cole might actually do decent commentary for once, and then bam, Kevin Owens comes in and he fucks everybody's shit up. So Sammy is going to be the good guinea pig that he is, and he's going to set my dreams in motion for Kevin Owens to finally get to that main event level by becoming Intercontinental Champion this Sunday. A lot is riding on this. Even if one of my predictions is wrong, I could see the whole thing coming undone. So to me, Sammy has to win this Sunday for everything else to even have a chance of holding water. So Sammy to win.
You know what, though? I don't know about that. Believe it or not, you're actually starting to convince me otherwise because Payback is going to be a thing.
That is true.
So I think, honestly, I'm changing my pick. I think Kevin Owens retains. I'm changing my pick on the spot right now. Kevin Owens retains on this show, but then Sami Zayn keeps going after him, eventually forces Kevin Owens to give him a match. Maybe Owens kind of pulls like what Cena did last year and gives Sammy a match, but non-title. Sammy beats him and forces him to put the title on the line at Extreme Rules where he beats him. And then the following month at Money in the Bank, Owens wins Money in the Bank.
I'm glad, though, that you are warming up to the idea of Mr. Money in the Bank, Kevin Owens. And I will say this.
There's no warming up required. I was on board as soon as you mentioned it a few weeks ago.
Nice. But, yeah, dude, I mean, I dig your plan. Here's my thing. Obviously, you know me, and I've come out and I've said Kevin Owens, I think, is my just my favorite guy in WWE right now that Seth Rollins is hurt. And honestly, when Seth comes back, as much as I love him to death, he might have some catching up to do because Kevin Owens is just next level to me right now. So if he retains at WrestleMania, especially with that sit-down interview he gave with Michael Cole, Oh my God, I'd love it because he'd be like, he even told Michael Cole, it's going to be the greatest moment in WrestleMania history. I'm going to make WrestleMania history when I retain. Because I think he said that an Intercontinental Champion hasn't retained their title at WrestleMania in like 15 years or something.
Well, and the
So
fact
then,
that they're bringing that up tells me that it's even more likely he's going to retain.
yeah, and then he's just going to shove it in everybody's faces. And oh my God, the shit he's going to give Cole over it. So as a fan, you know I'm Kevin Owens all day, in every match, even when it's not logical. But considering that I'm trying to rein that in until live reactions and be logical, I'm still going to say Sami Zayn. I don't
Yeah.
know. But I do like your idea too, because they both lead to the same destination. Kevin Owens is Mr. Money in the Bank. Oh my God, I want it so bad.
I'm officially calling it, man. We're going to get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn brawling it out for the next 2 pay-per-views, and Sami's taking it from him at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view in May.
I am totally cool with that, man. Whichever one of us is right, I don't really see much contention because, again, it gets us to the same endpoint. So it's just a matter of when it's going to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, because I guess my big thing is if Sami takes the title off Kevin now, there's not really any motivation for them to have an Extreme Rules match because they can just have a rematch at Payback, Sami wins, and then Kevin's at the back of the line.
Yeah, that is true. You do make a great point there. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right, just know that I did make my pick changed. No longer picking Sami, now I'm picking Kevin Owens officially. And then now we can move on. Let's. Do we want to talk about one of the 3 big main events, or do we want to talk about the match that probably deserves to be a main event, and that being the women's match?
You know what? Let's talk about one of the main events first.
Okay,
Because
let's talk about which non-title main event match do you want to talk about first, McMahon Taker or Ambrose Lesnar?
probably Ambrose Lesnar.
All right, let's talk about Ambrose Lesnar. I'll let you go first on this because I feel like I've been going first a lot.
Oh, man, Ashton, I hope you don't hate me for this, and I hope anybody listening doesn't hate me for this. I'm waffling on this one now. I was so strong in my convictions about Lesnar winning, but of course, when we actually get to the moment that when the opinion actually matters, I get cold feet. I'm not so sure anymore. I think Lesnar is the safe bet, and to be honest, that's become kind of problematic because sooner or later the safe bet has to lose. I mean, if you don't believe me, just ask Undertaker how that works out. That said, I don't know if Ambrose is the guy. And to be quite honest, for as much as I love Ambrose, and we had a nice discussion about this, I believe, on a Raw Twitwow, I believe it was maybe 2 weeks ago, Ambrose shouldn't be the guy. Because if Ambrose was to beat Lesnar, his whole babyface rise is going to feel less organic and more manufactured. And that'll be a death blow to him. Because, see, for as much as I'm already settling in that 2016 and part of 2017 is going to be the John Cena and Roman Reigns show, even though, side note, the Kevin Owens show is infinitely superior, I really do want to see Dean Ambrose in that main event scene. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, and there's more than one way to get Dean Ambrose to the top. You do not have to do it at Brock Lesnar's expense. So I'm going to say that Brock Lesnar wins. But I'll give WWE and Dean this much credit. I haven't sweated this much bullets about a Brock Lesnar match for the sake of Brock Lesnar in a while. I think Dean's going to bring it. I think it's going to be an awesome match. It is my most anticipated match for this WrestleMania card, but I do think Lesnar's going to pull it out. So Lesnar to win.
Yeah. Um, I'm sorry, I can't pick Lesnar. It's so funny because I'm the one that came up with the rule number 1 of being a Dean Ambrose fan: never pick Dean Ambrose to win. But just the way that they've been booking him recently, I think Brock should win. I agree with you. I think that Brock. It makes the most sense for Brock to just beat the living hell out of Dean. Dean kicks out like 2 or 3 F5s, and then Brock hits a fourth, or I guess maybe even a third one, depending on how many they want to go. And Dean just can't get up from it. But I just have this aching gut feeling in my stomach that Dean is going to pull this one out of his ass. And it might even require the freaking chainsaw for all we know. But I think he's doing it. I think I'm picking Dean.
Oh, man. See, and again, like, I don't want to turn on Dean or sour on Dean, but that would not sit right with me at all. I know it wouldn't with you either. I know that's not what you're saying. You're just saying that you feel like that's the direction they're going to go. See, and to me, I almost wish we could talk about the main event now. Like, well, I say the main event, but we don't know what the main event's going to be. I should say Roman Reigns versus Triple H next, but we got to hold off on that just a little bit longer because I don't know. See, because look, I'm being honest. If people were to ask me how much confidence are you putting behind a Lesnar victory, if I'm really exposing myself here to you guys and being truthful, 10%. It's really not a lot of confidence at all. There is just something about this match where, a lot like Ashton, I wouldn't be surprised if Dean Ambrose got the victory. And it's going to be one of those things that in the moment, live reactions, I'll probably mark the fuck out for it. But when I have time to like kind of, sober down and take it all in, I'm going to be like, no, that was the wrong move. And I'm hoping they don't make it because, again, Dean's got something beautiful going on with audiences. And he's got something beautiful going on with his character. I don't want that to be sullied. I think he can be a main event player. I think he's practically tasting it, which is a shame because, again, we already talked about John Cena and Roman Reigns' death already, but I do think that's going to kind of throw a wrench into everything. That said, I'm still going to stick with Lesnar, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the one match where I really have egg on my face because I totally can see where you're coming from picking Dean Ambrose, dude. I mean, the signs are kind of there. Maybe it's just me not wanting to believe them.
Yeah, I don't want to, but I do feel like I have to pick up or pick Dean Ambrose to win this match. So, man, it's annoying and it sucks, and I wish that they would have figured out a better way to write/book this match. But at the end of the day, this is what I think is going to happen.
All right, man. I really can't, contend that. I don't really have any sound points to be like, no, you're wrong. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
I really wish you did.
I do too. I mean, the only thing I can think of is WWE really doesn't seem to take Dean Ambrose that seriously, seeing as how he can't kick out a one spear, this and that, which we've already kind of hashed over on Raw 2 as it's one of the biggest writing flaws of this feud.
And that's honestly, dude, that's even more of a reason why I think Dean's gonna win, because it would be the most nonsensical thing in the world, and it's WWE.
Exactly. And plus, they armed him with a chainsaw, so you watch. Somehow that chainsaw's going to work its way into the finish. But yeah, Brock to hopefully win. But yeah, my confidence is really shaken, but very tentatively going with Brock Lesnar.
All right. Not first, but another disagreement for us. Let's talk about Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker.
God.
I'm just going to come right out and say it, man. I have no clue where they're going to go with this, so I'm just going to fantasy book it to hell.
Okay.
I think the Wyatt family is going to help Shane win. Or, if not the Wyatt family, Sting. Somebody's going to help Shane McMahon win this match.
See, and it's funny because I do believe the Wyatt family are going to have a bigger role at WrestleMania. You and I are just picking different matches for them to do it. Because
you think they're going to help Triple H out?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh,
because
God, I would mark out so much.
I'm sure you've seen it, but Roman Reigns versus Triple H is now a no DQ match.
I did see that, yes.
Anybody but you, Roman. So I am thinking the Wyatt family may stick their hands in that match, but that's a little bit later. We'll get more in depth and we'll really cut that match open when it's time. As far as the Hell in a Cell goes, dude, I have no earthly idea. It's so funny. I really am, and I can admit this. I am the worst kind of person because I find that I can jump a ship pretty easily without really convicting evidence. For example, this whole women's change, we're getting a new belt and everything, that reeks of Shane McMahon to me and the stuff he's been talking about. Yep. So I'm like, oh, clearly it's Shane. Again, I'm the worst, and I can readily admit that. Does that mean Shane's going to win? Absolutely not. But it did seem to color, that possibility more likely than The Undertaker. Again, there are so many flaws with this story, but that isn't really what this video is about. It's about predicting who's going to win and who's going to lose. I can still see Shane very easily winning and then the next night overturning Vince's decision about this WrestleMania or just last night's WrestleMania being Undertaker's last. I'm still going to pick Shane to win because here's the thing, too, if I'm being honest, and maybe I'm projecting too much because when has WWE ever really given a fuck about our feelings? But this is in their mind, in a kayfabe sense, this is a huge deal, right? You and I have already talked to death how it's not going to mean anything internally or anything like that. But putting that aside in its own corner, I think you and I can agree that in the kayfabe sense, this is a huge deal because this is all about a changing of the guard. I don't think you build something like that up to not do it. I mean, even with the horrible Survivor Series storyline that got turned over a few months later, at least they initially did it. Yep. And that's my thing. I think when you build something like that up, even if you're going to overturn it later, you don't let it sour initially. You let people have that moment. So I do think Shane's going to win because otherwise, and he really couldn't even do it within the confines of the story, because if Vince was to win, Shane had to hand over the contents of whatever it is he has on Vince. So he can't use that as a way to still worm his way into power. Plus, that would be a heelish thing to do, and Shane is clearly the babyface. Not saying Undertaker's the heel. That's another horrible thing they've really done here, but that's another story for another time. But I think you don't do this kind of build-up and tell this kind of story without at least initially giving the quote-unquote babyface and Shane the win. So I am picking Shane McMahon to beat The Undertaker here.
Yeah, same here. I'm picking him to beat The Undertaker, and I think the more that we kind of talk about it and the closer we get to the match actually happening, the more I'm convinced that it's going to actually be Sting that helps him.
Dude, I'm thinking Sting, or to be honest, Balor Club would be really freaking cool, and I know there's been a lot of talk about that. I don't know. See, I'm telling you, in either the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match or this match, there's going to be a big-time interference.
How about both?
Maybe both. You know, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be an either-or situation. It could be both. I wouldn't be surprised if in one night you see interferences from people like Sting all the way to Balor Club. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way that I see it. Yep. And I will say this, Balor Club interfering, I think, would be the perfect symbolism for Shane's new era, because he really does seem to be all about that new guard, and who better to represent the new guard than a guy like Finn Balor bringing the Balor Club. So just a thought, not saying that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm just, again, fantasy booking it to hell, to use your phrase. So yeah, Shane to get the win here.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. I do think that interference is going to happen in both this and the main event matches. And honestly, given the sort of atmosphere and the type of match that it is, we might also get interference in the Ambrose Lesnar match.
I would agree with that.
I hadn't even really given much thought to that, but it is a no-holds-barred street fight, which means that there's not going to be any disqualification, which means if Mick Foley or Terry Funk or Tommy Dreamer or any of the other of these ridiculous hardcore legends decide that they want to try and help their guy Dean Ambrose out, they could.
Yeah, that possibility is totally on the table. Likewise, we keep talking about the Wyatt family for this little bit. I mean, I've heard that the feud, Bray and Lesnar isn't completely off the table. If Bray would want to come in.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. I even remember I was listening to an episode of the Wrestling Observer in the last week or two, and Meltzer basically said, he doesn't think that Ambrose is going to beat Lesnar unless the Wyatt family does all the work.
Right. Which, how is that going to sit with Dean Ambrose? That's another thing, too. It's bad enough that we
Well, Dean has, that aloof personality that he could pull that off.
True, but
he could just be like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but okay, cool, give me the win.
Yeah, but see, I don't know how I feel about that, because it's not that I disagree with you, but it's bad enough that we already feel like Dean could beat Lesnar on his own merits. But as a babyface to beat Brock Lesnar, but with help, I think that's almost worse. Not by much, but I think
that makes it such a WWE move, though.
Oh, I know. Fucking hell. I don't know. I really don't know where the Wyatt family is going to fit if they're not in the armbar. And who's to say that even if they are in the armbar, that's where their WrestleMania ends? Yeah. I mean, considering what they've done in years past, are you really going to think they're going to settle for just being a part of Battle Royal? Get the fuck out of here. So I don't know where they fit, but I could totally see Ambrose Lesnar interference. I could see Shane Taker interference, because they do have the beef with The Undertaker. And, what has Vince ever really done for them? They don't give a shit. So we'll see, but regardless of how you slice it, Shane's getting the win here.
Exactly. All right, 2 matches left. Let's talk about the Women's Championship match now, and I did say that intentionally because of all these rumors that are about. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, and the last week has done nothing but made this decision more difficult for me.
Well, it's funny, Ashton, because between this last week of programming and this announcement, I think it's done the inverse for me. It's actually made it easier. I think Becky is winning the championship.
See, and you say that, but to me, this is so much more difficult now because, okay, here's the thing. First of all, Sasha Banks has been getting tons of backstage videos on her arriving at WrestleMania, talking about back when she was a little girl, wanting to be a wrestler, wanting to prove that women weren't just bathroom breaks when they wrestled. All of the highlight has been on Sasha. So that's one thing. But then on the other side, there have been interviews coming out that Charlotte wants to change the title to Women's Championship. You never hear Becky or Sasha talking about that, at least in a way that gets mentioned on WWE TV. Charlotte has. So now If we're going with my emotional pick, it's Becky. If you're going with the most logical pick, it's Sasha. If you're going with the pick that I think the WWE is going to do in order to have this big transition from divas to women, it's Charlotte. So I'm completely torn down the middle.
And see, I can see with you, you've got a lot going on, and I can totally understand that. To me, I'm cutting one path and I'm walking it, and that path simply is WWE programming. You know, Ashton, when I play this story back in my head leading up to WrestleMania, and I'm not talking about the debut of these three women, I'm talking about more recently these past few months, this really has been Becky's story. She keeps getting screwed over the Divas Championship. She got screwed over a non-title win against Charlotte by Ric Flair. Ric Flair keeps interfering in Becky's matches. He's the reason why she can't get the job done. You've got Sasha, on the other hand, who has yet to be beat. Right. She has been dominant, whatever. And Charlotte, I'm not going to say she's been a great heel champion because I know we've had our criticisms of Charlotte, but she's done a good enough job.
I won't say great heel, but what I will say is effective heel because I want her to lose that title so freaking bad.
And I agree with you completely. But because I think this is Becky's story, here's how I see this going down, if you don't mind me fantasy booking for a moment.
Go for it.
I see Becky making Charlotte tap out as the ultimate comeuppance for one. This way you protect Sasha, that she's never really formally been beat. She just didn't win the championship. Then the next night, and I would do this on the next night because it's the post-WrestleMania Raw. Maybe it'll take a little bit, but again, fantasy booking, we can take those licenses. You have maybe Shane McMahon come out, so it really feels like a huge deal. Be like, Becky, you're not divas, you're women, and you're wrestlers like anybody else. Gets a huge pop, and you embody that. You have Charlotte come out and sully the celebration because she's salty tapping out 24 hours prior. That's how you set up payback. Like, Becky, I want the women's championship you have because I'm the only real woman around here, or something to that effect.
Wouldn't it almost have to be another triple threat, though? Because then Sasha wasn't pinned.
That is true. I don't know how you fit Sasha in the equation because she wasn't a part of the decision, but yeah. Charlotte does have a rematch clause.
But Sasha's also still undefeated then, so she has a definite shot at the title, right?
That is true.
What I could also see them doing is if they do go your route, I could see them introducing Bayley and we could get a fatal four-way at Payback then.
Yeah, that could be. And then I would have, I don't know if I would have Becky retain again in those circumstances. To me, here's the thing.
It's so difficult.
Here's the thing. My end game, and I've been saying this for a while, and I think you've co-signed on to me, but maybe you've changed your mind since then. Sasha's going to win the title no later than SummerSlam. Oh, if not WrestleMania, SummerSlam is the beginning of the reign of the boss. Right. Okay?
And she's losing it to Bayley at next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, one can dream. I would fucking hope so, because that would be amazing. But in the moment, to me, I don't know what happens even tomorrow night. That was just a microcosm of my fantasy booking, mainly because you're right. Sasha not really being a part of the decision does already kind of blow it all to hell. I still believe this is Becky's story. She is going to make Charlotte tap out. This is her WrestleMania to win it. Plus, honestly, I know I'm boss all day, every day, and I have not stopped supporting Sasha. I know if she wins that title, you and I will mark the fuck out. But if I'm being honest, Becky kind of deserves this. She never got a run with the NXT Women's Championship. She deserves a run with that Divas soon-to-be new Women's Championship. So Becky all the way to get the win here via submission on Charlotte for the ultimate comeuppance.
Yeah, man, it's crazy that this is the most difficult match to pick on the card. This is probably the best built match on the card. It's amazing and yet so sad at the same time because then look at what the other women are stuck doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Divas Revolution, oh, you're almost halfway there.
Right.
Keep chugging, guys. You can do it.
Yeah, one would hope.
I feel so bad though because these three women got, in my opinion, the best program building up to WrestleMania, and it really is a complete beginning to end comprehensive story. They debuted, they dominated, Charlotte won the title, her ego and jealousy and sort of paranoia got in the way, and she estranged her friends. Becky started trying to go after her to get the title because obviously Charlotte was being corrupted. Sasha, in the meantime, got injured, and then when Becky lost her second title shot, Sasha comes back into the picture, having been undefeated for like 6 months at that point. All three of these women have been built wonderfully. Sasha being undefeated is perfect. Becky's only losses have been cheaty, every single one of them. Charlotte is the heel champion and she's eaten clean losses, but the championship says those clean losses didn't matter because she's still the champion. This is the most comprehensive, best told story on the entire card.
Which is insane to think about. And you and I have been saying that for a while now. And because of those, cheaty losses that Becky has suffered from, that's what I think makes her the most sympathetic and thus the most likely to win. I feel like Sasha, she's been on such a roll that it's actually kind of been her undoing. I know some people, and see, I didn't even want to go that route, and I'm not going that route. I'm just illustrating the straws that people will grasp at because I know it all too well. Because Snoop's getting inducted, they're like, oh, Sasha title win confirmed. And I can get it to a point, but I just think if you're focusing strictly on WWE programming, which I think should be the primary focus, this really is Becky's story they're telling because she's always coming up short. So why not come ahead when it really matters on the biggest stage? So yeah, I'm going with the Becky.
Dude, it's all about perspective though, because like you say, oh, this is totally Becky's story, but there's just as much of an argument that it's Sasha's story.
I mean, I guess, but think about how long she was sidelined before she even got on this role.
Yeah, I know, dude, but she was on a roll before getting sidelined, and she was only sidelined for like a month.
That is true. So
she got hurt in December and came back at the Royal Rumble, so she wasn't hurt for that long.
Right.
And well, she was undefeated starting in July when she debuted up until present.
No, I'm just when I was saying I wasn't even referring to the injury. I'm just saying like when she was part of Team Bad, and they really seemed like Team Bad was aimless for a little bit, where Becky was so close to Charlotte.
I think my biggest contention here though is that a lot of us felt like Becky was going to get thrown to the wayside, and then the WrestleMania match was always meant to be Charlotte versus Sasha. And the only reason Becky is in this is because she did such good work that she earned that WrestleMania paycheck, and they wanted to reward her for that. Like, okay, Sasha's been hurt. Let's reward Becky by putting her on this card. And they're still going to book it as if it was just Sasha versus Charlotte.
Okay. So you're formally predicting, I'm guessing, a Sasha title change then?
I don't know. That's the problem. I haven't made up my mind yet, because if we're just looking at what the best sort of I want to get the most out of this feud decision is, it's to have Charlotte retain by cheating and then have both of the girls have reason to keep going after her. And then she can be the one that kind of has this whole women's championship thing because of Shane. The way that they've been building it, though, it really does feel like they're building this match around Sasha. Because, like I said, like they put out a video of her showing up at AT&T Stadium and getting emotional. She tweeted like she just can't stop crying because it's got her picture on the stadium. We had that one awesome interview where she was crying, talking about how, the crowd used to get up and leave during women's matches because they were bathroom breaks, and she wants to stop that. Like, just the WWE, like who they're giving their time and dedication to, feels like Sasha. So I am going to pick Sasha to win.
I really am glad that we had just like this in-depth discussion about it, because these women deserve it and this program deserves it. So I'm picking Becky. You're picking Sasha. Let's see who emerges.
Charlotte's going to end up winning and screwing us all.
Yep. Doing it with flair. Woo!
All right, brother. Let's get to this main event schmaz. Triple H versus Roman Reigns in what is now being billed as a no disqualification match.
Do you think that changes the complexion of this at all?
I think it's intended to, so I almost have to say yes, because if they didn't want it to change the outlook of this match, they wouldn't have changed it in the first place.
So I know you've been kind of ruminating on the possibility of Triple H retaining. What have those thoughts cultivated?
No, you know what? Here is my thing. My guarantee is that a heel is walking out of WrestleMania with the World Championship. Now, whether that's Triple H or Roman, I can't decide on.
So, but let me just kind of clarify everything for everybody here. you do think there's a possibility Reigns might turn heel on this show.
I do. Dude. Okay, here's the thing.
Okay.
We've had John Cena heel turn discussions dozens of times, hundreds of times over the past decade, right?
Yes.
I think that the difference there is that Cena at least had a legitimate connection with the crowd.
Right.
There were big chunks of audiences and entire cities that would cheer him and only cheer him, and it seemed like the boos were the minority. The boos are the majority with Reigns.
That is true.
Reigns does not have any connection with the crowd whatsoever. He hasn't built up this big reputation like Cena has with the Make-A-Wish stuff. They need, and this isn't just me saying this, this is something that Stone Cold Steve Austin has said, something that Mick Foley has said, something that Jim Ross has said. Anybody that watches or is at least aware of this show has said Roman needs to be a heel. Even if you just want to have him be a heel for 6 months, just let him do it and get it out of his system, because first of all, the crowd isn't going to stop booing him until you ask them to boo him. Second of all, he is better as far as a performer goes at being a heel than he is at being a face. And his heel work can kind of let him groom the skills required to be a big baby face. You know, the charisma, the ability to connect with the crowd. He's already shown toughness, so I'm not even going to try and talk about that. But just in general, this kind of connection with the crowd that you can't force, it seems to happen a lot when future top babyface prospects turn heel. It happened with Austin. It happened with The Rock. It happened with freaking Triple H. It happened with Cena. These guys start out as heels. And obviously Roman technically did start as a heel because Shield, but as a singles competitor, they start out as heels, but eventually it gets to a point where the crowd starts to come around where they realize this guy is so good and so entertaining that we can't just keep booing him. And Roman Reigns as a heel could get there. Seth Rollins got there as a heel, I think, because towards the end of his run, especially against John Cena, crowds were cheering him.
Yeah. See, okay, I'm going to let you know exactly where I stand, okay? On the one hand, first of all, you're making a lot of sense to me. The problem with that is that I think I have been so scarred over those same Cena discussions, even though, again, your counterpoint makes a lot of sense. I think I have been left so scarred from those discussions and nothing happening that I'm very fearful about starting those same discussions with Reigns, you know what I mean? So, and nobody ever said fear was rational. So, that's why I'm putting it that way. However, it's funny because I will put it like this, as weird as this sounds. If Dean Ambrose beats Brock Lesnar, I would actually put more stock in a Reigns heel turn. Because I feel like if Ambrose was to beat Lesnar, that would catapult him into the main event scene. Like, the next thing Dean Ambrose should do, logically in my mind, is a world title shot. Because in Paul Heyman's own words, he beat the main event at WrestleMania. He beat the guy right now. And I don't see anywhere where Dean Ambrose could go. For that to still be fluid and be interesting, I think Reigns would have to be a heel. Another problem I have with that, we have the no disqualification stipulation. Now, on the one hand, knowing WWE, this is probably a last-ditch effort to stack the deck, in Triple H's favor, but to create sympathy for Roman. Because, oh, look at all these authority guys ganging up on Roman. Don't you feel bad for him? And if that is the case, and I don't say this maliciously, I hope they fail. Because if you're going to be so stubborn as to not listen to the boos, which are loud and are clear, you deserve everything that's coming to you. And that's just me being honest.
The one thing that I will add, I don't know if you saw this or not, a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, there was a report that came out from Meltzer that the WWE, you know how they normally, when crowds boo Roman, they like to add in fake cheers.
Right.
Well, there was a report, not this past week, or not this week, because we're recording this on Thursday, it'll go up on Saturday. Not necessarily this week, but the week before, on SmackDown, that Roman was getting a mixed reaction and the WWE added fake boos.
Interesting.
And that's from Meltzer.
Interesting. Again, guys, for me, Reigns turns heel. That to me is indicative that Ambrose wins. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people, but that's just kind of my logic.
Well,
So,
I think it's safe to say that Reigns, if he does turn heel, it'll happen after the Ambrose Lesnar match.
yeah, and I would agree. I would agree. I'm just saying, like, if Ambrose would win, that would kind of heighten my intrigue for the main event because I'd say, okay, maybe Reigns will turn heel. So do I go back and do I alter my pick to Ambrose and then go with Reigns to tell that story for Payback and Extreme Rules? Because we know Seth's turn is imminent. And honestly, but then the John Cena factor. See, this really would be the perfect year to do that Shield triple threat. Damn it! God damn it! What do I do? What do I do? Because, dude, honestly, if Reigns wins and they do the loud pyro and everything and the family celebration, I'm
Yeah.
going to be so fucking pissed that we devoted this much time talking about it when I said I didn't want to do it because of the Cena discussions. I don't want this to be another Cena thing for the next 10 years. I refuse for it to happen. I can't go through that again. But I'll do it this one time. I'll say that Reigns wins, he turns heel, and honestly, because of my own logic, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a last minute switch. I'm going to say that Dean Ambrose beats Brock Lesnar. So I'm going to go Dean beats Lesnar, Reigns beats Triple H, but Reigns turns heel. The question now, though, is,
I
and
was just
here's
gonna say, my question to you is: do you see the main event being a double turn, or is Reigns joining the Authority?
see, and I was about to field to you the same question, but you beat me to it. Damn, now the pressure's on me. Because I was going to say, with it being a DQ, how exactly does that work knowing Triple H is the champion? I mean, this could be the ultimate pulling a Triple H, doing the double turn so you walk away the babyface at WrestleMania. Um,
And you know what though, dude, this is starting to come together for me. Because if Triple H does, if we get the double turn and Shane wins, it would make more sense that the Authority wouldn't be on TV the following night because the Authority would get booed. But if Triple H turns face, you know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at here?
a little bit, a little bit.
I,
So,
I guess my whole thing is face Triple H would kind of be more that like I made NXT, you can cheer me now guy. Whereas and Shane will probably end the Authority. So with the Authority coming to an end, Triple H can stop trying to be a bad guy.
right, right. Hmm. But then, see, no, I think I'm overthinking it. I was going to ask you, does Shane stay a babyface or does he sour soon and go heel and then Reigns kind of runs with
No,
him?
I think Shane's going to be a babyface for a really long time.
See, and I'm inclined to agree with you. I can't see them tampering with that, but that's actually independent of whether Reigns goes heel or not. Damn, we're really doing this. Yeah, we're doing it. God damn it. God fucking damn it. Every fucking time with these people. No, because it just pisses me off because then it's not going to happen and then we're going to look like idiots. Um,
But you
but
know what though? We won't look like idiots because at least we knew that it probably wasn't going to happen.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. Because though you can't even say that because you know I'm gonna fuck it up for us when I'm getting all excited in live reactions like, oh my god, Reigns is holding a chair, use it, Reigns, use it, and it's gonna be this whole bullshit. I'm already sounding tired already, and we haven't even gotten started yet on this bullshit. I'm already so over it. So dude, I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll go in if you will. Are we agreeing that Reigns is gonna go heel on this show? I mean, where are you right now? Because I'm ready to take the dive if you will. But you
I'm
got
taking the dive, brother. Double turn. Triple H face, Roman heel. Roman beats the ever loving shit out of Triple H. Triple H is the only one bleeding in this match. I think Roman's turning.
you know what? If you're jumping in those waters, I won't let you venture in them alone. I'll jump in with you. So that's both of us saying. So you're thinking, can I just qualify what you're saying? You're almost thinking it's going to be like a Del Rio Ziggler situation
Yeah.
where he just
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That's the
Okay.
last time we had an effective double turn in WWE too, so it's perfect.
Okay. Okay, then you know what? And you know what? Again, this is a little bit of fantasy booking, and I can admit that, but I would love just to really solidify it if Dean and company came out to celebrate with Roman and he lays all their asses out. I mean, just really drive that point home. So, yeah, Roman heel turn. And you know what? I'm going to put this caveat on it. This is the first and last time I'm going to seriously discuss this, because if it doesn't happen, I'm never doing it again. I don't know about Ash or any of you guys. I ain't taking that ride for the next 10 years. This is the one time I'm doing it.
Yeah,
So,
man, it's
Reigns heel
weird
turn.
though because we want oh god. Okay, here's the thing. The rumor, the heavy rumor that I've been hearing for the last month or so is that Vince is legitimately considering hanging it up.
Right? I think I've heard the same.
Legitimately.
Yeah, I've heard the same stories, I think.
Vince is the only one so stubborn that he does not want Roman to turn.
Ooh, that's true. And he is old and in the way. So if he gets
Exactly.
out of the way, if he gets out of the way, I really
He'll
hope it's
still be old, but he won't be in the way anymore.
Exactly. He'll still be an old fart, but he won't be in the way anymore. Excellent. Ooh, I'm starting to feel evil. Yeah, we should totally do it. Let's pull the trigger on Reigns being evil. Yeah. Oh God, all this false hope tastes so good, and yet I know it's going to be so bitter in the end. Like my life.
I think that the other option, just to cover all our bases, if the double turn doesn't happen, Triple H is going to win, and then they can use Triple H to sort of keep the Authority relevant. Because, I mean, if Shane wins, he's going to obviously disband the Authority, right?
Yeah.
Well, if Shane wins and Triple H wins, Shane can disband the Authority all he wants, but that's not going to allow him to keep Triple H off TV because he's their freaking champion, so he can hold it hostage.
That is true.
I think that's
Yeah.
a very interesting situation that might happen. Those are my two options. Either Roman wins and becomes the top heel in place of the Authority, or Triple H wins and holds the world title hostage despite Shane wanting to get him off TV.
Oh God, see, now it's getting bad because now I'm getting drunk on my own giddiness about Vince being out of the way. And then you've got Roman, he just beats the shit out of Triple H, and then afterwards he grabs a mic and everybody's just booing. He's like, "Shut up! It's Roman Reigns time. And if you don't like this, it's irrelevant." And then poses with the title, and we go to black. I mean, when I tell you buckets, I would just buckets over that WrestleMania finish.
He gets
You
on
don't
the phone.
even know.
He gets on the phone. He waits for the booing to die down a little bit. It doesn't, but he keeps waiting. And the longer he waits, the louder it gets. And then he goes, "You gonna let me talk?" And then the crowd gets even louder. And then he just says, "I'll wait until you finish." And then they finally decide, "Okay, fine. We don't want to be here forever. Let's quiet down a little bit." And then Roman's just like, "The era of Reigns begins tonight."
Resume booze.
Mic drop. Hit the music. Pyro. He's done.
Oh my God, yes. And then the only thing Vince would have to be concerned about is keeping his batteries fresh and his life alert. It's perfect. Oh my God. I want it so bad now, and fuck each and every one of you for making me want it.
I can literally hear you getting aroused at these ideas.
Yeah, I'm definitely pitching a tent big enough to fit 4 people at this point. And that's, I was content to come up here and be like, Roman Reigns getting the quote-unquote babyface win, but you just had to go and be all Ashton about it and make me have hope. Fuck you people, man. So to commit though, just to commit it, because I swear to God, Ashton, if you back out at the last second, I will choke you out.
No, we're both picking Roman to win and turn heel, but my backup plan is for Triple H to win and hold the title hostage.
All right, that's fair enough. And you know what? I'll co-sign onto the backup plan as well. This way we're both using the same parachute because you're not leaving me alone here. So there we go. Those are our picks. And again, just to reiterate for everybody that may be like a bit confused, because I'm picking Reigns to turn heel, I am going to switch my pick to Ambrose beating Lesnar because I think that'll be the first immediate program that Reigns does. So,
oh yeah, heel Reigns versus baby Ambrose.
Oh my God, dude, that's going to be better than all their friend versus friend matches, because then they're going to really be able to tell a story. Yeah. So, and by the way, just to reiterate too, you picked Ambrose to beat Lesnar as well. So are we the same on that now? All right, so we're actually the same on both of them. Wow, funny what a discussion can change. So yeah, that's the WrestleMania card, brother. You actually got me more excited now for WrestleMania on a can of false hope than they have with their actual booking. God damn it.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. There's your WrestleMania preview and predictions. This is going up Saturday, so you will have already heard our NXT live reactions. So we'll see you tomorrow for WrestleMania live reactions, and then Monday for Monday Night Raw, post WrestleMania Raw live reactions. We're live reacting to everything, people. Hope you're prepared for the Balor Club, or Samoa Joe, or Enzo and Cass, or Bayley, or an amazing crowd, or all of the above. Let's do this!